I am in a tavern. I want you to appreciate how unusual that is. I do not spend time in taverns. It is not where my kind goes to think. But here I am. But a man walked into my archive recently, uninvited, armored, and entirely unapologetic about it, and said something that stayed with me. He said that while elves sit and think, humans have already made the decision and moved on. His name is Redwald. He is a human lord. He is also, I suspect, correct about more than I would like to admit. So I did something I do not usually do. I left. Not the archive. The archive is always there. I left the places I know. I am on the road, in the world, among your kind. As for orcs, I have said what I needed to say. The orc said what he needed to say. The human said what he needed to say. 3 perspectives, 3 truths. The archive holds all of them. That chapter is not closed. It is resting. If another voice comes, the door remains open. But I will not keep circling the same fire. Tonight, I am sitting in a tavern in one of your border towns, with a map spread on the table, and a drink I did not order but someone brought anyway. Apparently, elves do not buy their own drinks in human taverns. I have been looking at this map for an hour, and I have a question. Why is the dangerous part always at the top? Every map your authors draw puts the threat in the north, the dark lands, the frozen wastes, the place where the nameless evil stirs. It has been this way in every story I have read for the last century, and I have read a great many stories. The north is where the monsters live. The south is where the heroes come from. The east is mysterious. The west is safe. Your geography is as predictable as your prophecies. I brought a map tonight because I wanted to show you something. The world does not work the way your maps say it does. Doomness introduced me to a dwarf named Lotmotir. That was, I think, 2 centuries ago. Lotmotir is a cartographer. He draws maps, not the kind that hang in throne rooms with gold borders and sea monsters in the corners, the kind that people actually use. Trade routes, water sources, mountain passes, distances measured in days walked, not in decorative inches. He has been everywhere. I do not say that loosely. Lotmotir has walked more roads than most elves have read about. He once told me that the difference between a good map and a bad map is who pays for it. A king commissions a map. The kingdom looks large, the borders look secure, and the empty spaces are filled with warnings. Here be dragons, here be wasteland, here be nothing worth your attention. A trader commissions a map. Suddenly those empty spaces have roads, wells, villages, and people willing to sell you grain. Lotmotir showed me a map he drew of the southern reaches. Your authors leave that part blank or paint it red. His map had 17 settlements, 4 trade routes, 2 river systems, and a note that said, "Good cheese here." That is the difference between a map drawn from fear and a map drawn from walking. The pattern is everywhere. Lewis froze an entire land under a white witch who ruled from the north. Jordan put his ultimate darkness at the edge of a blighted wasteland in the far north. Martin built the wall to keep the White Walkers from coming south. Your authors love their cold evil. But not all of them. Sapkowski sent Nilfgaard marching from the south, an empire, not a monster, and more dangerous for it. And Tolkien, I have said before that I respect him, placed his great darkness in the east and south, not the north. Though even he put older, greater evils in frozen mountains far to the north. The pattern is so consistent it has become invisible. You do not even notice it anymore. It is easy to put danger in a place you have never been, but I have seen more destruction come from pleasant valleys than from frozen mountains. The most dangerous kingdom I have known was surrounded by orchards. The north is not evil. The south is not safe. The east is not mysterious. It is just far. And the west is not the end of the world. It is the beginning of someone else's story that your authors never bothered to write. Let me tell you about the south. Your maps either ignore it or mark it as wasteland. Barbarian territory, uncivilized, empty. I have heard stories that suggest otherwise. There is a man, I have not met him, called Karadru. He is from the southern canyons. He left his people and walked north into the world the rest of us live in. He is not the first to do this. A few have come before him. But he is the one whose name I keep hearing. Traders mention him. Soldiers mention him. Even Lotmotir mentioned him, which is unusual because Lotmotir does not mention people unless they have shown him something worth mapping. Karadru's people live in cliffs, not on them, in them. They carved homes into the canyon walls, connected by rope bridges and stone stairs cut into the rock. They have water systems built from cisterns that catch every drop of rain and underground springs deep in the canyon rock. They farm in the shadows of canyon walls where the sun does not burn their crops to dust. And they do all of this at night. Their entire civilization operates after dark. They sleep when the sun is up and live when it goes down. Your maps call this wasteland. Their weapons are made from obsidian, volcanic glass, sharper than steel, but brittle. Karadru still carries an obsidian knife. He has a steel sword now, picked up somewhere on the road, but the knife stays. It is the last thing from home. Their skin tells their story, not metaphorically, literally. Every achievement, every loss, every skill is tattooed on their body. You can read a person's entire life by looking at them. Clean skin means either a child or someone who has been erased. Your authors write the South as empty because they do not know what to put there. Lotmotir would tell you, the empty parts of the map are not empty. They are just the parts no one has walked yet. I moved upstairs. The tavern is loud, and this part requires quiet. Maps are not neutral. I have lived long enough to know this. Every map is an argument. It says, this is what matters, this is what does not. The borders it draws are not geography. They are opinion. My people are guilty of this too. Elven maps are beautiful. I will not pretend otherwise. Gold leaf, precise lines, elegant script. And they show the world exactly as we want to see it. Elven territories are detailed down to individual gardens. Human kingdoms are vague shapes. Orc lands are blank. Dwarven tunnels are omitted entirely. Dumnus once saw an elven map and laughed for 10 minutes. He said we drew the world as if the underground did not exist. He was not wrong. Lotmotir told me something that I think about often. He said, a map is a portrait of the Mapmaker, not the land. Show me a map, and I will tell you what the person who drew it is afraid of. Human maps fear the north. Elven maps fear irrelevance. We draw ourselves large to feel significant. Dwarven maps fear the surface. They are most detailed underground. And the south? Nobody maps the south, because nobody who draws maps has been there. Lotmotir has. He came back with pages full of detail, and nobody wanted to buy them. A merchant told him, "There is no trade value in the south." Lotmotir said, "There is. You just do not know it yet." That is the problem with your stories. Your authors draw maps to confirm what they already believe. The north is dangerous. The south is empty. The elves are in the forest. The dwarves are in the mountain. That one is actually true, but that is beside the point. Everything in its place. But the world does not stay in place. It never has. I left the archive because I realized something. I have spent 3,000 years reading about the world from a chair. I have formed opinions about every race, every kingdom, every war, and most of those opinions came from books written by people who also formed their opinions from chairs. Redwald was right about one thing. While I think, the world moves. I did not like hearing that from a man who will not live to see 90. But I have learned, slowly, over centuries, that discomfort usually means someone has said something true. So I am on the road. I do not know for how long. I still have the archive. It does not need me to sit in it. But I want to see the things I have been talking about. The border Redwald guards, the forest Entrydahl patrols, the mountains where the orcs build their terraces, the south where the maps go silent. Lotmotir gave me advice before I left. He said, "Walk first, then draw." Most people draw first and then wonder why the world does not match. I intend to walk. The map will come later. Or perhaps not at all. Perhaps the point is not the map. Perhaps the point is the walking. I am Castien. I am in a tavern I do not know the name of, in a town I will not remember, on a road I have never taken. And for the first time in a very long time, I do not know what comes next. That is, I am discovering, not unpleasant. What would you ask an immortal who finally left his library? The council awaits in the comments.